if you've, consistently are only getting through 4 of your tasks on a list of 20, maybe we need to have shorter to-do lists every day and set yourself up to win. So just be curious about what's happening, what's the mindset, what's the conversation or the story I'm telling myself each day. Yeah.
So because you work with so many CPA firms, so many individuals to balance the work and life, I'm just wondering if you can share with the audience some, like maybe 1 or 2 stories that you work with a client that you think that would be a good example for the audience to consider when they need to balance work and life.
That's a good question. So the first person that comes to my mind is actually a little bit later in his career. He's getting ready to, he's young, but he's getting ready to retire. So we started to work together on a 5-year exit plan. And one of the things that I love most about what he's done is, we built, one of the things we worked on together was building out a 5-year, basically step down. So if he was working 100% in the business, the next year he would work 80 and then he'd work 60 and kind of work his way out as he made room for the next person to come in and fully take over time. And so now he gets to spend 4 months in total away from the office. He's empowered other people to run the practice. We've worked to put the systems and the structures in place. And it used to be he would go for a week at a time, and then we extended it to 2 weeks. And now he'll go for 3 or 4 weeks at a time and can really unplug. And he uses that time to think about what changes he wants to make next in the business. And so I would say I'm most proud of that because in terms of balance, he has mastered it. He has figured out a way to enjoy the things that he really loves and be physically in the places that he loves when he's outside of the office and keep the practice running smoothly, keep his clients satisfied. So that's really exciting. I'm excited for him. And I love to get to see the pictures when he's all over the world traveling and exploring. So that's really cool. Now that I know isn't possible for everyone, especially if you're younger in your career. So I have worked with a number of young professionals who are similar place in life to you, maybe getting married, having their first kid, buying their first homes, also trying to study for the CPA exam. And one of the things that let's just take that example for now, is when you're juggling multiple things and the CPA exam. One of the things that we do with candidates is we sit down and we talk about what are all the things that are most important to you in your life. Because certainly passing the CPA exam and keeping your job and having a paycheck are very important. But there's other things too, right? Well, I have to be there for my parents who are aging, right? Maybe they need help, or I want to be at every baseball game, or I have, a friend group that I want to stay connected with, whatever that is for you. So we just get it all out on paper, really understand what are the things that you want to be spending your time on. And we work on crafting a schedule and a plan for how do we fit all of those things in? How do we find opportunities to integrate those things, even during times when maybe you're spending a lot of extra time studying, or we're going into a busier time at work and we're spending a lot more hours in the office. So looking at how you can integrate and how frequently, right? Really thinking about how frequently do I need to connect with my friends to feel the best, to feel most myself, most alive, to have my cup filled up. How often do I need to be in the gym? How much time do I want to dedicate to reading? Truly, whatever it is. And we very intentionally map out that plan. And so I found that works really well with the CPA exam, because if we go all in and all we're doing is working and then studying, it's not very exciting, right? It's not very exciting, and it's ripe for burnout, because a lot of times what we do is we abandon the things that we love the most because we think we can't have it all. Now, we might not be able to have it all and as much of it as we want, right? Maybe I'd like to be with my friends 3 nights a week and home and have all this flexibility, and maybe that's not possible to that level during busy season or while you're studying. But we need to carve out time for those things so that you're the best version of yourself at the end of the day.
It's just very tough, Erin, when you have that specific schedule, as you mentioned, like what do you want to do, and you had to put it in your schedule. But a lot of time when you work on like one thing, you're like, oh, I just need a little bit extra time to finish it, and then that little bit extra time can end up to be like 1 hour, 2 hour, and it will take over the next thing that you want to do. Like you need to be very disciplined to stay with your schedule when you come up with. And one thing I know is that if like any young professionals, when you have like little baby, your schedule is unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to schedule anything in advance. The baby may need to change the diaper the last minute before you go out. Maybe you may get sick when you plan to have a trip.
Yeah.
Like a baby just like not feeling good whenever you just want even just go to Target for a short drive.
Yeah.
It's just not happening with a little baby being around you. So in that situation, when the schedule is way more unpredictable, in your how do you normally recommend your clients to stay on the top of the balance, work-life balance, or like to stay away from burning out?
You bring up a really good point, because sometimes I've found with clients, and maybe this is just because we're accountants and we like things to be a bit more predictable, and we like it when we can plan on a schedule, and that unpredictability is not always easy. But the first thing I would say is have some grace for yourself. Don't have this be an all or nothing. I do see that sometimes where if I can't get 3 hours of studying in, I'm just not going to study today at all. I'll study tomorrow. And then that becomes sort of a losing cycle. So have grace. Allow yourself some flexibility in the moment, because some things are out of our control. That's an illusion to think that we have control over all of these different factors. Life is going to happen. Even sometimes when we craft what seems like the best plan, something inevitably comes up. Family's in town, or, an unexpected trip. So we want to still be present in life. And then I think it's just about, all right, what are those non-negotiables? What are the things that absolutely have to happen from my commitment, whatever I'm committed to? In your case, maybe it's I'm committed to being a mom as much as I can, and I have to get, the requirements of my job complete. And those non-negotiables will be different for everyone. And what are the things that would be nice, but that can drop off, that I don't need to have? And we just make sure to make time for the things that absolutely have to happen. But I think self-care is incredibly important. So I really think finding opportunities and not holding those as a nice to have, but really a need to have. I would invite people to consider that the things that bring you most joy are very, very much non-negotiables. Because, as you said, sleep, right? If you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to be the best that you can be at work. You're not going to be as present as you can be as a mom. It's not possible. So we have to make sure we have time for those things. But be flexible, give yourself compassion, and I would say, the last thing I would say about that is experiment. Maybe you're finding predictably, I can't get through all the things on my to-do list every day. Maybe you're putting too much into your day, that it's not reasonable for you to get through 6 tax returns a day. Maybe 4 is really the number, or maybe 2. If you consistently are only getting through 4 of your tasks on a list of 20, maybe we need to have shorter to-do lists every day, and set yourself up to win. So just be curious about what's happening, what's the mindset, what's the conversation or the story I'm telling myself each day, and kind of be listening to that inner monologue to learn a little bit about yourself in the process, and really start to figure out what is going to work for you, what's the right balance for you.
Yeah, I agree when you mention about what you really need. And I always tell my husband that what I need and what I want is different. And what I need, I really need it. And what I want is okay. I may not need that, but that's what I want. It's nice to have it, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
need it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to understand yourself, to know what you really need and make time for it. That's
Yeah.
very important. And you also mentioned that when you have this well balanced accountants, you came back and then work with CPA firms. So how was your transition going back with your accountants community and
Mm.
making connection? How was that transition?
It felt like coming home because again, when I first started at EY and met all of my peers, I felt that connection to those people, and I still do. I mean, I love the people who are drawn to this profession are so cool. And I know that's not the reputation that we have. It's the best kept secret that accountants are actually really fun and really cool. They're so smart, which I love, and also have so many passions outside of work and are so interesting and so committed and dedicated to their clients and the profession. And so it felt like coming home. It was a little bit, I would say, a little bit challenging in that I had some imposter syndrome actually. What some of my earliest clients in the accounting space, one of them was a managing partner of a firm, and I started to think, "Oh my gosh, I only ever was a senior 2. I don't know what it's like to manage and run an accounting firm. Who am I?" Right? Like really feeling like I'm not the right person to coach these people. So I had to overcome some of that self-doubt and on discomfort, which we all encounter those situations in our life, right, where we're sort of challenged beyond where we think we can operate. So definitely had its challenges, but ultimately was the right move for me.
Wow, you must feel so proud of yourself after that conversation with that partner.
Oh, we've worked together now. I still work with him. It's been almost 7 years, and very grateful for our partnership and our relationship. It has taught me a lot, and it did go a long way in building my confidence. One of my coaches at the time said, "You don't have to be an expert in everything they have going on. You just have to be an expert in people. And you have to understand what's going on with him internally, where he's struggling." And from having started a practice and lived through all of the challenges I had in my early career, I did understand and I could relate and I could ask him questions about it. So I had to focus just on being an expert in people and connecting.
So when you mentioned about expert in people and connecting, yes, it's also a good point to build relationship, to build
Yeah.
connection, but also to understand people that well. Did you go out and attend any training? Did you read any books about that? Or did you just have that from your own experience?
Well, certainly in the coach training program that I participated in, that teaches you a lot about actively listening and asking good questions. So that's really one of the main functions and roles of a coach is to ask you questions that get you to start thinking about things maybe in a way you haven't thought about them before, or to think and dig a little bit deeper. And for me to listen to both what you're saying and what you're not saying, or what you're maybe hinting to. And so that's one way to really become an expert in connecting and in people, is to be curious and to ask those questions. And that's really what I focused on, was how do I just stay curious, be open to learning. And yes, I do tend to read a lot of at the time, maybe coaching specific books. I read a lot about leadership, read a lot about teamwork and things that go wrong in teams. I like to read a lot about neuroscience and how the brain plays into people being able to achieve their goals and stick to a habit or a resolution, stick to a goal that they've set for themselves. I'm curious about all of it.
Do you have any books you recommend audience to read about leadership?
Yes, I do. Actually, on my website, there's a brand new leadership reading list that I would highly recommend. We've broken it out based on levels. So there are many books in there that are great for anybody at any level in their career. There are some that are especially fantastic when you're just getting started. And then there are some that are more focused on strategy, running a business, setting organizational goals and things like that, which honestly, it doesn't hurt to read those even before you think you're ready. A couple of my favorites, there's one that I love that's called You Are a Badass. It's bright yellow on the cover. It's a really fun, easy read, but she talks a lot about some of what we've hinted at today around mindset and understanding some of the ways that we hold ourselves back. Some of those internal conversations that are potentially negatively affecting how you progress in your career, how you think about yourself, am I ready or not? Most of the time we can convince ourselves that we're not ready to take a leap or to jump in. Now that I've said leap, it reminds me of a book called The Big Leap, which also is great. I recommend that to almost all of my clients. So I would check those two out in the early stages. And then if you're stepping into leadership, if you're getting ready to start leading a team, maybe as a senior or even jumping into the manager role, Dare to Lead is a great book. I love that one. And then there's another one called The 5-Minute Mentoring, which is just quick and easy. It's been around for, it seems like 100 years, but all of those are on my reading list. So I would invite you to go check that out.
Yeah, and we also mentioned about community, making connection, making network. And I know you very involved with car CPA. Oh, I love car CPA.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. When I was in California, they were very active when I was in California, and I believe they are even more active now. But we always have like ABC events, we have networking events, we have all like scholarships for students. It's just amazing opportunity for people to network, to go out and meet people. But Erin, I would like to hear from you your experience when you build your network, build your community with CAD CPA. By the way, for audience, CAD CPA is a state society, CPA state society in California.
Yes, and I agree with you. I love Cal CPA. I think they're fantastic. They do a lot to serve our profession here in California and nationwide, because a lot of, they have reach, and you can get content that they partner with other state societies to get out there to more people. So absolutely wonderful. And wherever you are, there is a state society. How active they are and what they offer varies state to state. But it made such a difference for me in building my community, just being able to go to events locally or at the state level to meet people who were working in the profession, going through what I was going through, and to help me understand more about what was going on in the profession. It was so nice to have those people that predictably were at events over and over and really start to build that network. I've also seen people get hired as a result of those relationships. When they're ready to make a job change, they think, you know what, that person seems to really like their firm. Let me go ask. And next thing you know, they get hired into that firm. I've seen peers go together and bring challenging client issues that they've experienced to the group and say, have you seen this yet? How are you handling this with your clients? So it's really a valuable professional resource and a personal resource. So I love it. And I always encourage people to get involved somewhere that you can build that professional community, even if you don't think you need it yet, because it will come in handy.
Well, you never know. You never know until you need it, and you don't want to get to the point that you need it and you reach out to people, and then they will think that, oh, you just come to me because you need me now.
That's right. And I think anytime building a professional relationship, because I've seen that too. I've seen people come into Cal CPA and other networking programs come in and really be having a taker mindset. Like, I'm here to get business or to get leads or to sell something. And that never goes well. So I always try to go into those relationships and give first. Like, what can I contribute to this organization? what can I contribute and how can I help this person? Could be as simple as introducing them to someone else who's a valuable connection. But I really try to go into it without expectations for myself or what I might get out of it, and really focus on that relationship building and the connection. And it has absolutely paid dividends for me and for the people that I've seen who have stayed committed and dedicated to those relationships. They've absolutely benefited from them.
Yeah, I still remember when I went to a lot of events for class CPA. They not just over ABC event. So for people they wonder what is ABC event, it is A stand for Anthony lawyers, B for bankers, C for CPAs. So
Yeah.
it was a great event to make connections with all these people. And also they have a lot of activities that you can go to college and talk to students as well. So it's just funny that you thought you just go to school and talk to students, you're not making any connections there, because college students, they're going to find a job, and how can you make connections with them?
Right.
But I actually make connections with people who go to the school together with me and speak to the students. So it's just a lot of opportunities to make connections when you just like open your mind, go out and talk, or like attend the events. That's just amazing.
Yeah, you never know. You just never know who you're going to meet. But I sometimes think of it like when I hear people that are trying to find their partner, right? Maybe they want to be in a relationship, but they're single, and they maybe don't say yes to dates, or they don't say yes to going out to mixers or things. You have to be out there. You have to show up. And likewise, I took that approach with networking and relationship building. Even if I'm not sure, I'm going to go. I'm going to go check it out. I might find that it's not for me, but I'll likely give it 1 or 2 chances to make sure. Because sometimes you go and it's just not great that day. It'll be better the next time. But I think we have to go in with an open mind, curious, even if it's uncomfortable, because I know that networking is not everybody's favorite thing to do. Maybe we just think of it as relationship building. Maybe you find a friend. Maybe you land a mentor. Maybe nothing comes of it that day, but keep showing up. It's just, I can't underscore the importance of that enough. It really goes a long way in your career development. And I do think it's something that young professionals today are overstepping, and they don't want to do it for some reason. And that's the beauty of Cal CPA in general, in particular, is that they are very open to people's suggestions for other kinds of events, even casual get-togethers, and really focused on building that community. So approach your state society and see what opportunities there are, or find other ways to do that. But get out there. It's really important to start building those relationships and the skills, those networking skills, those relationship building skills will become really important as you progress in your career and start working more closely with clients.
Is that amazing that it takes time to learn everything? Like even just go out there and how to talk to people. I still remember I was so nervous at my first networking event, and I was panicked. Like, how can I carry the conversation again? How can I even start the conversation? What if I have no idea what they're talking about? All of those things, everything's for the first time just scary. But once you get over that curve, oh my God, it's so much easier the second time. And it's a lot easier the third time, and get to the point that it's just so natural. Just go out there and talk to people. Like for me, just go out there and reach out to people to be on my podcast.
Well, and it helped you build that skill. So you maybe weren't thinking about that at the time. I'm going out to build this skill because eventually I'm going to have a podcast. You didn't know that at the time.
Nope.
But it's valuable skills. And that's why I think it's important that we get out there, because you may be unintentionally building a muscle or a skill that's going to be very important. And just be open, be curious. It's okay if you were to walk up to somebody and they're having a conversation about advanced tax issues that you're not familiar with. Most people that I've encountered are more than happy to share and teach and share about themselves and their experience. So just, you don't have to pretend you know it. You don't have to be an expert. Say, wow, it sounds really interesting. I haven't had the chance to work on that. Tell me more about it. And you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot, and you can meet a lot of really interesting people.
Yeah, I have learned so much from you and from all other guests on my podcast. And that's just amazing how I can just like, wow, I can share with my audience about this conversation. At the same time, I got some lessons for myself too. And that's just amazing. You mentioned about being open, being curious for young professionals. So before we end this podcast, I was wondering if you have any other tips and advice or recommendations for young professionals to advance in this accounting profession.
Well, I think there are so many pathways you can take with this as your foundation, with accounting as your foundation. So again, talking to people who are doing different things, even if they don't have an accounting background, just understanding what's out there and exposing yourself to all of those opportunities. I think just bringing that learner's mindset to things and bringing that curiosity may open you up to opportunities of things that you didn't even know existed, or ways you could use your, accounting background or your CPA license. So I think that's really, really important. I also think that doing some annual reflection outside, maybe you do annual goal setting at your firm, or maybe it's more than annual. I hope so. Take the time, take those seriously. Really think about, what are the skills I want to develop this year that will help me to get to where I want to go. And knowing that where you want to go, that destination may change over time, like it did for me. It changed quite a few times. But bringing some more intention to your own development, I think, is very important. It's also a way to help yourself stand out among your peers, if that's important to you. But being very intentional about continually developing, continuing to grow, and being honest and truthful with yourself, right? About what it is that you like, things that you don't like. And I guess the last piece of advice along those lines that I would give is to have a mentor, have somebody inside of your organization that you can talk to. Because when I think about when I left EY, I got to that place where I was burnt out, frustrated, and just needed to get out. I talked about that being reactionary. In hindsight, I wish I had gone to more people, shared about what I was feeling, and asked about not only resources, but what other opportunities there were. Because I think I know at the time, I didn't know what was coming down the road in my career. So I think they could have given me some of that guidance or insight as to, here's what it's like to be a manager. Here's what it's like if you were to shift from audit to maybe internal, an internal role. I think there would have been other opportunities there for me. So I would encourage you to really keep your finger on the pulse of what it is you like, things that you would like to change about your role, and then have conversations about how you could make that happen.
I love it. Those advice are so helpful for the audience and also for people. I believe those advice not just useful for young professionals, but it's useful for all professionals at any point in your career.
Yeah.
That you need this. You need to have a mentor. You need to have a coach. You need to be open, to have open mindset, and also like be curious, and also take care of yourself as well. That's really important.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Erin, for the interview today, and I hope audience learn a lot. And I believe the audience learn a lot from our conversation today.
You are so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.